Yes. Welcome, everybody, to another excellent episode of the XoneBros. My name is X1 the Gamer. As always, I am joined by Jordan the Man and Mr. McSpicy. Jordan the Man.
Hello.
Welcome to this gratuitous Friday.
Gratuitous.
Yes.
Yes, well, good to be here, David. Good to be here.
Big news this week.
Why is it gratuitous?
I'm just grateful for Friday.
Oh, okay,
really.
me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get you. there.
Yeah, big news this week. Oh, by the way, I played Trek to Yomi last week.
Yes.
It's pretty fun.
That game is beautiful. I think it's one of the best cinematic games
It's cool.
in, I don't know, a while.
It makes me want to go back to our black and white phase.
No,
we
no,
had
no,
a
no, no,
podcast
no.
black
Yeah,
and white
yeah.
phase. That's correct.
Don't do that. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, that was our artistic phase,
yeah.
our emo artistic phase.
Yeah, that's
That was our
emo phase.
And it's not even the black and white. That game could be color. I think the black and white adds to it. What it is it's just the way like you come down with your player, and in the foreground you've got blurred out vegetation, and in the background it's blurred out, and it's just focused on this guy, and the way you move around in Trek to Yomi, very, very cool. Now, I will admit, I think that the fighting does get stale after a while.
Yeah,
I'm still having a blast with it though, and there's kind of some cheeses that you can do. For instance, if you run and just strike, in other words, like if you run towards the player and just stick your sword out, you just one kill. You one kill a lot of the bad guys that way. But
It's more of a journey game than a combat game.
it is. In fact, if we pull up some gameplay,
I can pull up some gameplay.
and I
Well,
can show you.
It's the way you described it is it's
a
really interesting how you as the player character and the camera interacts with this environment, because it's not like just a straight side scroller. It's really well. How would you say cinematically?
Yeah, like there's a forward-
cinematically designed
Yeah, there's a forward.
to tell their story.
There's a forward and a back, and not just the left and right.
Yeah.
And the way they move their camera, whoever designed it this way, well done. I would like to see other games done like this.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah,
Actually, I
and so
gotta
you can
fix
see here
this.
we're watching it live. If you're on Spotify, you can also watch it on video as well. YouTube.com/X1Bros. Come and check it out now. So this is your standard side, but if you notice, see, like he turns up there into the side of the mountain, comes back down. It's just beautiful, and the way the camera moves like that, it's cool. It's very, very
And
cool.
see, and then he can go,
and he can go back to the
village
village there.
area.
He's running. This dude is running a lot. He likes to run, apparently.
Yeah, it looks very, very good.
Like, look, and then, like, see, as he's moving forward, how the camera slowly pans up there.
Yeah.
It's
well, and
beautiful.
I mean, the setting alone helps. I mean,
Oh, this is just the beginning.
everybody likes samurai.
Yeah, who doesn't?
You know,
Who doesn't? Particularly when you, like, are just a kid samurai, and then you become a badass man.
then you become a man samurai.
Man.
So is this like the story of the journey of a young boy becoming
Yeah,
a man?
what we're watching here is the very, very beginning of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely beautiful. If you've not checked it out, it is on Game Pass.
Yeah, great grab.
I do admit the fighting does get a little repetitive, but that doesn't take away the enjoyment for me because of how, like, look how good that looks. Just how fantastic
well,
art
like,
direction.
the destruction that's going on in the background dynamically while you fight is super cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't think there'd be like set pieces in
Yeah.
these types of games, but it's really
Good looking game.
You would like it, Mark.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
you
to
would-
play it.
You would
I
like it.
I haven't had a lot of time to play
after you play Loot River. Is that what it is?
Loot River.
Oh yeah, did you ever play Loot River? Yeah, have you not played that yet? That came
Oh
to Game Pass
no,
a few weeks ago?
I haven't. No, I want it. It's downloaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know what game I've been getting really into again lately too? Is Red Dead Redemption. I think it might be playing it a second time. I think it might be one of the best open worlds created ever. It's that
Oh,
good.
yeah, no, it's
the
good.
first time I powered through the main story. And so I didn't take my time like I did in the first Red Dead Redemption. And so the second time, I know what happens in the main story, no big deal. So I'm really taking my time and exploring, and it does things to me, man.
Well, it makes sense because what other game have we had that's Rockstar open world that is as modern as that? That's
Yeah.
as far as the engine.
That's a
and
great
everything.
point, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it would make sense that that's the best one.
Yeah,
to
I mean
date.
they did a fantastic job with it, and the side stories and the way that they interact with you. It's a shame because when you play online, the world does not feel as alive.
No, it doesn't. I was just about to say the reason you probably like it so much is because Rockstar, I think, hands down, is the best at this, in my opinion. But whether it's Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead 2 or any of their games, making the world feel alive.
Yeah, they're king for
it
sure.
feels like there's a full ecosystem in there.
We had high hopes for Cyberpunk, but that kind of didn't.
Did
go
I
the
see
way
that they were
we
going to make a Cyberpunk TV series now? I think I saw that today, or some rumors around that. Chat can correct me, and I thought to myself,
Well,
I mean, there's really no story to ruin in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So it might be okay.
Isn't it basically Blade Runner?
Yeah. I mean, the story is pretty decent, like with Silverhand and
Johnny.
Yeah, with how, I mean, the overall story was. I enjoyed the overall story. The problem was
everything else.
Oh yeah, I mean, to put it lightly, it was the in-betweens kind of got repetitive. Some of the mechanics were not all the way there. I felt you got overpowered a little too quickly for an RPG game. The world didn't seem. The map was amazing. The actual like how you make the world, that map come alive, failed a little bit.
Yeah.
But, and of course you couldn't play it on the system they sold it on, or one of them, which made it difficult to enjoy that game. So I mean, it had some faults, but as far as the story, they could have done the story better. Like the whole beginning, the tutorial, if you want to call it that, could have been much more gameplay. But instead, I felt like they rushed the beginning of the game.
Yeah, they did a montage.
A montage, and I don't think in an RPG you need a montage.
You are the montage.
Yeah, you can progress your character. I felt like some things were rushed, and actually,
it's like we said before. Cyberpunk has the soul of a good game. It just doesn't have, I don't know, the bones of a good. Yeah, just.
And that, I mean, what other open world game? I guess we have the Assassin's Creed that have come out since Rockstar. So I guess we do have some Ubisoft hitters.
Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft makes fun games that I play, but even taking their latest one, Far Cry 6, which we had a lot of fun with, especially cooperatively, the world still doesn't feel as, like, Rockstar definitely feels a step up.
Yeah.
I would say, in my opinion, and I might be biased because this is my favorite game ever, but I would say The Witcher 3 comes close, if not reaches that bar. If it doesn't reach that bar, it comes close to that bar.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of videos. I was like, well, what does everybody else say about this? Because as I was playing, I was like, man, this is so good. And so I looked up like best open world games of all time. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is always in the running in everybody's video. Witcher 3 is always in the running. Both of those are always in the top 5. I've never seen anyone put Red Dead Redemption 2 number 1. Not everyone, a lot of people have put Witcher 3 number 1.
Yeah.
And the thing that they always put with it, now I think it's a little biased because I think the game is so good that they attribute what's so good about that game to the open world. I'm just talking strictly open world. But yeah, everybody says that. Now, I never played the DLC. I restarted that game how many times?
Yeah,
but
you've just played the bloody
But one
parrot
thing that really
15
stands out
times.
is a lot of people who are like going through and analyzing and making these videos, a lot of them say Witcher 3 best DLC of all time.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Heart and Stones was really good. I mean, it took place in the same world. You had extra quests. You had a really good storyline. But I think the one that they're probably what puts it over the edge is Blood and Wine, because you go to Toussaint, and that is a cool place.
Yeah.
And why it's so cool is because you're used to a world
Dark
In war.
Dreary.
Yeah, in war. Like you're in a war-torn world, and then you go to Toussaint, which is this like it's Italy, right? It's flowers everywhere, wineries. And the storyline is still really good. You have and their DLCs are essentially a whole new game. Like those, they're not they're expansions.
Yeah.
Like they're
But okay, so as a game, top tier, maybe best RPG of all time, at the very least, arguably one of the top of all time. But if we were to just extract that out and you just go world versus world, not main character, not story, do you think The Witcher 3 world building is better than Red Dead Redemption 2?
I think they're close. It's hard to say because
one is more dated. Witcher 3 is more dated.
Well, yeah. But like The Witcher 3 did cool things in the sense of if you helped a person here, the town would come back or stuff. You know, so you come back later and something would do that.
Red Dead 2 did that too, quite a bit.
So Red Dead, I think, does a better job at like dynamic things within the world.
Okay.
Like for example, I'm riding through a swamp and all of a sudden I see these guys trying to bury someone alive. And then it starts this huge fight, and then now this gang is mad at me. You know, I think Rockstar does that really well. The Witcher really didn't have too many dynamic events. I mean, I guess Red Dead Redemption would probably be like a slight cut above Witcher 3. I think where Witcher 3 has... for world,
we're just talking the world.
Not the quest or
not the entire.
See, and I think that's where Witcher 3's strength is their intertwining quests. And because the closest thing to a dynamic event in Witcher 3 would be like what I said. You would go and hunt a monster, and then the townspeople would be like, oh, thanks for saving our town. And then you come back to that town later, and it's rebuilt back up, which is cool. And it makes you feel like you're, you know, and then but those are not necessarily dynamic because they're probably set points on the map. Whereas, I mean, I was just riding along, and all of a sudden there was this crazy lady in an outhouse chained up. And I had to figure out why.
And when you go back, her dead body is
and you're like, it was
and
weird.
Then they have,
you know, like they're
like stage coaches being robbed in front of you, and they're chasing, and it has nothing to do with your storyline.
Yeah,
but stuff like that happens quite frequently.
They had like the aliens, right? If you were at the church. At
so
a part,
okay, on the alien thing, does it ever come back? Because that's the part I just got to that part. And I go in, because the first time around, I missed it completely. I don't know how I missed it, but I missed it.
There's so many things you miss. In that game.
I didn't do it properly. So this time I made sure I was like, okay, here's the church. I know aliens come here. And then sure enough, the lights came above the thing, but it wasn't like it was close. I couldn't really see the UFO.
I saw you see the UFO if you look.
But I know on all the rocks, because you can collect the rock etchings, and they have those scenes of aliens.
I have seen the UFO twice. That's as many
you've
times
seen it twice?
Seen it, yeah.
Where's the second time that you saw it?
Up in the mountains.
Oh, okay. Remember in Red Dead 1 when you saw Bigfoot?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
See, I almost feel like Red Dead 1 had more of that, what would you say? I don't want to say fun stuff, but...
No, Red Dead 1 was a lighter tone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Red Dead 2 is more grounded.
I think, like, for the next Grand Theft Auto or whatever, I think if you can find the perfect mix between, like, the silliness of a Grand Theft Auto and that seriousness of a Red Dead 2. I mean, I know they're totally different.
And then you'd have Witcher.
Yeah. No. I actually think overall Red Dead 1 was a better experience than Red Dead 2 because of that. I think Rockstar went a little too serious with Red Dead 2. It was a little too heavy. Whereas Red Dead 1... had that Grand Theft Auto, really funny side quests, hilarious things happening, hilarious characters. Red Dead 2, not really. They had some quirky characters, but for the most part, it's all very heavy.
Well, I think Red Dead 1 had more unique characters, but that's because they were outlandish. Whereas I bet you could only, off the top of your head real quick, maybe name 3 or 4 characters from Red Dead 2.
I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since I've played, but I remember the characters quite good.
I only remember like 2 or 3.
No, well,
you
have the whole
Arthur,
campsite. Like, let's talk about
but that's
campsite.
what I'm saying. I don't feel like any of them were super unique and memorable. Like there was Dutch,
well,
who
and
was
the
really
Native Americans that you helped along the way. There's a lot of really good stories.
There was
there.
the son. Yeah, the son had a good story.
And
wait, was it the son or the father?
And then, I mean, even the characters that weren't on screen for very long, like the electricity guy. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but the guy was hilarious.
Yeah.
And
but still, don't you feel that that's wrapped in like a heavy tone? It was like
sure. I agree with that. But I'm just saying. I think Red Dead 2 had some great characters. Even on the plantation, the lady that was there. Like I remember all these characters. Granted, I'm old and I have a terrible memory and I can't remember their names, but I still remember the
experience.
No, Yeah.
When Rocks, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen in Witcher, because Witcher is the same thing. They have really, really good character development. There's side quest characters that I like a lot more in Witcher as a side quest character, and the things that they had to do. You delve into it. I mean, I think we're talking about really, really two great games with character development.
Yeah, no, I was talking about like Red Dead 1.
Red Dead 1 versus Red Dead 2, though.
Yeah.
And what are you? I think both games.
No, I was saying
really have
I was
that remembering.
I was
factor.
saying I feel like Red Dead 1 had more unique characters.
Like,
See, I don't know. I don't
well,
know.
for instance, here's an
I
example.
think more zany characters.
Yeah, but
That
Jordan's
adds
saying
to their
that's what makes
uniqueness.
them
Yeah, that's what makes
unique.
Like the guy that jumped off the cliff. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
The Wright brother.
Or
guy.
remember even the
He
guy
just wants
that
to fly
yeah. Or remember even the guy that everybody online thought was your father in the top hat that you just read, the mysterious man.
Yeah, but I mean, Red Dead
Sid.
2 had that too. Just not. They didn't. They had the zany characters weren't the main characters.
Yeah,
Whereas in Red Dead 1, many of the main characters were the zany characters.
Alvarez down in Mexico. That guy.
Oh,
The
yeah.
first time you meet that guy, he ended up being a jerk.
Yeah, there's so. I remember one time, and
think his
I
name was
don't know if
Alvarez.
anyone else experienced this, but I remember one time going through what's that Saint Louis? I don't know that place.
Saint Denis?
the New Orleans place.
Yeah, Saint Denis.
Saint Denis. Yeah, I remember just walking through town, like just enjoying the world, and then a railroad riot took place, and they all started killing everybody, and then running towards
Yeah, but
me.
that's a dynamic event. You're not like attached to any of those characters.
I got attached to those characters because I understand. And even the doctor in Saint Denis, I think Rockstar has a lot of characters and they portray them very well. They're just, I don't know why you have that opinion. Actually, I really feel like Red Dead did a really good job.
No, I'm not saying they did a bad job. I like
just think-
I like the uniqueness of.
the flamboyance of the Red Dead 1
I
characters.
think,
Well, that's why I think-
the tone of Red Dead 2 was more grounded, and I think it makes it, while still top tier, great. I think I prefer Red Dead 1 because it was more. They took more of a silly tone, less of a serious tone.
Well, it had its serious moments, but it was more like a Grand Theft Auto 5. Right? That's why I'm saying if they could just combine the two.
but they
Have a serious tone and then have a mission with Brucey. You know?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like with Grand Theft Auto, you have just the very nature of the game. It's like the world is what do they call it? An elastic world where it's like Brucey is the prime example. He is just such a funny character. That character doesn't exist in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas all the characters in Red Dead 2 could exist in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly. That's
Well,
what I'm saying. It's
yeah.
more grounded.
Yeah, Red Dead 2 is definitely more grounded.
But I think that does it a slight disservice. I think the magic potion for Rockstar is that Grand Theft Auto vibe, that feel of not being afraid to be silly.
Yeah, that's so subjective, though. Like, I feel like I like Red Dead 2 because of the seriousness, and I like Grand Theft Auto because of the zaniness.
No, but which do you prefer, Red Dead 2 or Red Dead 1?
Both.
No, you have to pick one. Which one do you prefer?
But see, I mean, I like the zany characters in one, but I like the
See, and
seriousness
that's why if you
in
can
two.
combine the two, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to say
Well,
that. They're two. Yes, they're in the same kind of world. They're sequels.
Here,
But I like them both. I don't know how to
I think
answer that.
one. I think while 2 had a good story, and it was the prequel and how John Marston became John Marston, I think 1 story was more memorable. And I think the reason it was more memorable is because of the characters along the way. They did have that flamboyance that didn't exist in
because
Red Dead 2.
I actually don't know which story I would prefer.
Because
You know
so
what I
for
mean?
instance,
Because Arthur was a cool character, and I like, especially towards the end when stuff started happening to him, like you
no,
feel for him.
the way they bring
You-
those together,
you
it's
know what
like
I mean?
whoa.
Yeah.
It's like whoa,
It's really good.
whoa.
But
Even the bad guy. So the bad guy in 1, and spoilers, if you've not played it, you might want to turn this off because
Yeah,
I'm about to.
for the next 2 minutes.
I'm about to spoil it.
It is an old game, but
Yeah.
why haven't you played this game?
But in 1, when with the Pinkertons are following him, even the main guy in Pinkerton, I think was super, super memorable. Like you hate him in a unique way where you don't hate and I forget the guy's name in Red Dead 2. Basically the Trevor of Red Dead 2. That's the
Oh yeah, the one that you go through town killing everybody.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
It's like Trevor's great grandfather, great grandfather.
Yeah,
You
he's
just
got
start
the
killing everybody.
He's
He's like,
dude.
"Woo!
He's got the
Get
white.
some
He's got the
guns."
white hat.
So
the
when you
mustache,
fight
yeah.
him, it is like this epic moment, but when super cool, super memorable, and then you become John Marston in 2. But when you die as John Marston in 1, and you don't expect it because you go into red mode and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna murder all these guys.
That was a surprise.
And then you die, and then it comes back like after credits kind of come back, and you're the son, and you go and murder that dude who's
he's
just
fishing.
Like that
Is a good balance, is what you're saying, to have zany but serious moments.
Yeah, that was just more. I feel like they found a better balance. Now it's like a 9.8 versus a 10. Like they're right there, neck and neck.
Well, see, and that could be just a personal
It could be.
preference.
It could be.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying for me, I prefer.
yeah,
I think what happened is Red Dead Redemption was a new game, so you had a lot of Rockstar developers and storytellers, or not Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto developers and storytellers on Red Dead 1. I think when you moved,
they went with what they knew. Right?
Yeah, I think when you moved to Red Dead 2, it went a little bit in a different direction, less Grand Theft Auto. I think what Grand Theft Auto does so well is what Red Dead 1 did, right? Like it has this fun factor to it.
Fun.
Red Dead Redemption was very grounded, very very serious. Red Dead 2, I mean.
Yeah, Red Dead 2.
Whereas
well,
I
not to say,
I preferred 1 story-wise.
I don't know because the story in Red Dead 2, I really like how they pulled
Like just
all the stuff
like-
together. Well, for example, I'm going to say something for those of you that have played Red Dead 2. This is a spoiler, so go away for a few minutes.
We're still
Ready?
on the
spoiling.
spoiling.
Yeah,
We're
3,
still
2, 1.
spoiling.
Here it is.
spoiling.
I actually really enjoyed how by the end of Red Dead 2, you kind of start to realize that Red Dead 2 was a story about John Marston through the eyes of
true.
Arthur Morgan.
No, it's
You know what I
true.
mean? And
It's
that was really cool.
They did that really well.
And I will admit, they got me so attached to my horse, I was pissed when.
We don't have to mention that.
Yeah, that
I don't
was-
want to start crying
that
on
was
stream.
terrible.
Trigger.
But
Trigger
You're
down.
gonna make
I-
you cry.
it's almost like I like that deep storytelling, but I just need a Seth character in there too.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Seth.
The guy that just digs up bodies. You know
I
what
need a
mean?
snake oil
Is it
salesman.
Seth or Sid or it's something like that?
So,
You
but
guys
they tried to do that. So, for instance, they had the Reverend in Red Dead 2 who was drunk and like just this pitiful character. But again, it was masked in this heavy. He has this heavy feel to him. They did it with even the German loan shark that you're working for. He's a little bit zany, but again, very heavy. Seth had no heaviness to him. Weird.
Yeah, he was crazy.
Super weird. Even the snake oil salesman, super weird. Zany. That kind of character isn't really a part of the main story in 2. 2 is very, very grounded.
Yeah.
And I think the
But I mean, I think there's strength in that. It's hard to say. I like my seriousness, but I like my Brucey characters, you know? And I wish they could just bring them,
With
marry
the
'em
shark
together.
testosterone
Yeah.
that he drinks or whatever.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you the part that gets me into.
Well, and I like
the part-
Packy and all the Irish family and all. They're like Grand Theft Auto makes some pretty cool characters.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But and if
see,
you
and
just
I
bring
think
a
those
little bit
characters-
of that over.
Yeah,
over
they
the,
had that in 1, and I think they went away from it in 2.
Yeah, well, because I think that that's a style artistic choice.
Well, yeah.
They totally wanted to do a Western. Like a legit Western.
Yeah, the music is fantastic too.
Yeah.
The one thing I really wish they would have done, and I think I almost wonder if they were held back by going with that grounded reality. I wish they would have made a Undead Nightmare 2.
Yeah.
That is one of the greatest DLCs I've ever played.
Yeah. Yeah. Rumor is that Rockstar is making a Red Dead 1 remastered.
That would be awesome. If it looked like that,
Yeah. If it had these mechanics, this world. Red Dead 2 though, I think world is the best world that I've been in. Like it is awesome.
yeah, I agree.
Going back and replaying it this time instead of powering through the story and enjoying the world a little bit more, doing more side quests, going out of my way to do those. The world building
I feel
is
like
really good.
I mean, I'm no game designer, but I feel like an old game like this is a lot easier to create because of the openness of the world. Whereas, like you look at even like a Cyberpunk map, where one of the reasons I thought Cyberpunk was so great, was so great, is because many of those buildings you see you can go in, and they have unique characteristics. With like a Grand Theft Auto, you have all these cool outside buildings that you can't go into.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like they have an advantage with older games because of the.
And by older, you mean time
period.
Although, do you think, coming from the other direction, do you think it could be harder because there's less spaces to make it feel alive? And I think that's where Rockstar excels in all of their games. Because Red Dead, I agree with you, David. I think it's one of the most alive feeling worlds. I think The Witcher 3 does come close, but I will world-wise give the edge to Red Dead, because even just walking through the plains, you see the buffalo herds go across, and how you can interact with them, and
that's the dynamic stuff that Rockstar is great at. So I feel like the next iteration of Rockstar's, like whatever we get,
it's gonna be amazing.
Grand Theft Auto 6, for example, is going to blow our mind.
Now with Grand Theft Auto 6, do you want to stay single character storyline, or do you want to continue with multiple story character playability?
That's a hard
like
question.
5.
That's a hard question for me, because I think you can tell a better story, like in Arthur's case in Red Dead, following just one character. But what Grand Theft Auto 5 did, level design wise, with 3 characters, I use this as an example. When you're hijacking one of the buildings, you start out as Michael coming in with the helicopter, so you do a flying scene. Then you start out as Trevor going in. Then you switch over to Franklin being a sniper. Like, the way they incorporate that into their gameplay was top notch.
Yeah, I think with sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I think with how Rockstar does it, I'm good either way.
Either way.
I think
as long
how
as
they tell it, each character is my single player when I play as them.
That's a good point.
Granted, I like more than others.
Didn't you feel some were weaker though? And that's
but
probably
they did that
you're spreading your,
But they did that on purpose. Michael was the brain, Franklin was the driver, Trevor was the helicopter pilot. And they all had very different personalities.
Trevor was the enforcer.
Yes. They had very different personalities. I preferred Trevor over everybody because of how chaotic he was, but I didn't mind playing as Franklin during driving scenes because he has abilities as the driver,
Yeah.
So I feel like, and story-wise, I enjoyed it. I feel like Rockstar really does a good job at taking you through each character. How they did it, I feel I'm indifferent. I think it could be good either way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Psychotic in chat says, I'm good either way as well, though I'd like to be my own character with a set voice actor like Cyberpunk.
So that, I don't know if they could tell as good as a story. Like, imagine being Arthur Morgan, for example, but not being Arthur Morgan. It's like with Mass Effect. I really, really, really like playing as the main character in that game because everybody knows Commander Shepard, and I know his face. I know, even though they let you change the character model and the voice
Mark
and stuff.
Shepard.
Yeah, to Mark Shepard. Yeah, we could do that. But I would play it as the generic version because that's the character that I know. That's, and it I don't know how to explain it, but it's easier to be a set character to experience that versus your own. I mean, there are instances and games where having your own character is fun, and you are role playing as yourself or whatever you want to be. Samuel Jackson, for example, if you want to be Samuel Jackson, whoever you want to be, but to just. The immersiveness of having a set character is far more powerful, I think, in a game than having those kind of controls.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I would disagree with that comment. In my opinion.
Andrew Coulinane says Red Dead 1 was fun. Red Dead 2 was more real. Captain Obvious says, I'm still playing Red Dead 2. No spoilers, please.
Sorry, man. Hopefully.
Sorry. Captain Obvious, apologize.
Oh, we told him beforehand, so. Yeah.
Brian F says, I like Red Dead 1 story much better. My favorite story ever in a game. And Blake Densley says, you're crazy. Story in Red Dead Redemption 2 is much better. And so it might be, there you go. It's maybe subjective there, but good discussion either way. Either way, I mean, we are talking about top tier worlds ever. Like just what we see with Unreal Engine 5. I think granted those are tech demos, so we never get what a tech demo is, but worlds are about to go to places we've never seen before.
Well, depending on who's behind the helm.
Depending on who's behind the helm. Yes.
What's interesting is I thought I read somewhere that the modding community is working on Red Dead 2 as the new like no pixel.
That would be
world.
That would be really
That
cool.
would be badass.
Yeah,
Because everybody wants to be a cowboy.
Yeah, so that they're working on creating an engine based on that game's engine to create a role-playing server. I think there's iterations out, but it's still being fine-tuned for.
Yeah, if they could do that. I mean, I know I've seen different YouTubers mess around with certain servers, but it's not what Grand Theft Auto is even close yet. But yeah, that would be amazing.
Now,
And maybe the mistake that Red Dead Redemption 2 made. Granted, you're in this area where you don't want to take away from your moneymaker, which is GTA Online, but they maintained that seriousness in online, Red Dead Online, and I think that hurts it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen like Hot Wheels DLC. And
Well,
I
I
mean,
keep
that
going
was,
back to
you
this.
know,
At Christmas
or,
time, at Christmas time, they made it snow. Whoop-de shit.
yeah.
Hey, that's still.
Yeah,
I mean,
have Santa fly across
Yeah,
or
like
something.
why can't I earn Santa's sleigh? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, as your carriage, it's all like
as your
Christmased out.
carriage,
That would
and then
be
have
cool.
reindeer and stuff. That's what GTA Online lets you
Well,
do.
and you would argue that adds to making the world feel alive. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're following the events of the real world.
but I mean, that's what they took the artistic direction that way. That's just how that world is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What Rockstar should do, if they want to make as much money as possible, is create your own modded community. Like give tools.
Then you would have all those.
to have those kinds of like no pixel servers out there to make it more accessible. Give them all these options that you don't have to custom code and stuff like that. Could you? That is the next MMO. Like that is when you have that, like a role playing server. Oh man.
Well,
With that
imagine
kind
if
of
you had
power.
mods in Red Dead Online. Then a Christmas event could be hunt down Santa.
Well, how you? Yeah. But have Santa be like some weird.
Some guy
Santa
that broke
is like
out of
the
jail
Eddie,
and
like the Eddie Murphy Santa. Have you seen that on Saturday Night Live? Me and Santa are a lot alike. We both sneak into your house late at night.
Yeah.
Anyways, good discussion. Let's get to.
So you're playing. So all this
Yeah.
was because you're going through Red Dead 2 again.
and I'm going through it in a very slow. I'm just enjoying. Here's the thing. After I have a job that is mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
And at night, if a game is too much work, I just can't. I can't get behind it. I can't do it. But I can just jump into Red Dead and do whatever I want. Just ride around, and that's what I've been doing. I just ride. I'm not even progressing the story at this point. I'm riding around, just like, oh, I want to go see over here. Ooh, look, this is really pretty. Ooh, listen to the sounds. Like, it's just very relaxing.
The world is good.
before we move on, can I just say why Rockstar is a top tier developer?
Why?
Just we're watching this scene of them just going through it's
like a
basically
bar
it's just a
fight,
mission,
outside,
yeah. But what happens is just I'm just watching it and thinking. I used to think. I mean, I still do think this. I think Naughty Dog has some of the best animators in the business.
Yeah.
But I think they're getting a run for their money with Rockstar because these animations, the way it goes from a cinematic scene to gameplay, they're outside. It's raining. Mud's getting on their clothes. I was telling you this before the show. Small details matter because small details add up to an overall picture.
Yeah, it's true.
And that is part of the reason this game was good and why the world feels so alive because of just the anime. Just everything comes together beautifully.
Agreed.
Animation's very important.
Very important.
And Rockstar, honestly, they have always been pushing the envelope.
Oh, yeah.
With how good. Well, that's the power of in-game engine cinematics because you can.
There's the top hat dude. There he is.
Oh.
like
Okay.
Sony
Easter egg.
Sony games are known for this. How it flawlessly goes from a cinematic cutscene back into gameplay with no hitches at all. And Rockstar's doing that. I mean, they're
So remind me here.
doing
So
that for a
so sorry. On screen, everybody, we have the fight just ended here, and the top hat guy's there. This is the top hat guy that's in number 1 that a lot of people think represent.
the mysterious man.
Yeah, the
well,
mysterious
I
man.
don't think it's the same dude.
It is the same guy.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yes, Yes, it is.
The
debate. That is the mysterious man.
Okay.
But I don't remember. Do they close him off? In that they don't close him off.
No, he's a mystery. He's the mysterious man.
Well, but see, John Marston would. If you notice, John Marston never interacts with him.
Interesting.
John Marston would never know him.
What if it's like the Sixth Sense, where he's like
just
a
dead.
dead person?
He's dead.
He's really not in this
no one
scene
else.
either.
If you look, no other characters looking at him.
They're not acknowledging him. Or
Yeah, look,
anything?
no one else is looking at him. Just Arthur.
Chat is saying I don't think it was the same guy. I think it's maybe a nod.
I'm gonna look it up.
Do it, but I don't think it's the same guy.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's.
He's
the same
not
guy.
the only one in this time period that wears top hats.
No, that's the same. That's
Look,
the
Dutch
same
is
guy.
kind of wearing a top hat.
I'll look.
Yeah.
I'll look,
So
I'll
yeah,
look it up later.
chat saying the theory is he's the devil.
Yeah, for Red Dead 1.
Yeah.
Red
yeah,
Dead
that's
1.
the mysterious
Yeah.
man. That's like what he symbolized, like the
Yeah.
bad influence on your shoulder. No, I know that you know this. Yeah, Blake, I know that you know this guy in Red Dead 2, but Red Dead 2 is a prequel to 1. So John Marston doesn't know him. And if you remember, John Marston never interacts with him.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the same guy.
I think you're wrong. But we'll look that up later. Let's talk about Xbox in Japan. Konnichiwa. That's Japanese, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
What does konnichiwa mean?
I think it means like hello,
hello?
or something like that.
Konnichiwa.
And it's konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah.
Should I be a weeb? Japan, Xbox, for the first time in a long time, in 8 years, last week, Xbox outsold the PS5. Now, it's only weekly numbers, and when you look at total numbers, it's not even close. The total numbers, it's like Xbox, what is that? In fact, I have the numbers here. Xbox total in Japan is at 72,000. PlayStation's at 350,000. So not even a third of the total sales.
Total sales, yeah. Total
But
sales.
it was first week in 8 years that Xbox has beat the PlayStation 5 in sales in Japan. Xbox needs to get into that Japanese market. It wants to get into that Asian market. Phil Spencer has been talking the talk. He's been trying to walk the walk over there, and it looks like it might be working. Now there are some issues with stock with the PS5 that are helping this for sure, but that doesn't take away from the fact that people still have to actively buy a Series S.
Well, yeah.
What's interesting, let's just read this. This is from Pure Xbox. This data comes from Famitsu, which is like the Japanese news source. And
I believe
has all
it's Famitsu.
yes. And
I'm just messing with you. Man.
oh my goodness. And they report that the Xbox Series S sold 6,120 units in Japan last week. The Series X only sold 105 units, so there's definitely a preference there. However, both PS5 models combined for only a total of 2,693 units, meaning Series S more than doubled PS5 sales in Japan last week. Now, these numbers are down massively on the week prior, where PS5 outsold Xbox Series X and XS, suggesting huge supply constraints in the region with the PlayStation. Still, it's clear the Series S is becoming a pretty popular little machine in Japan, probably down to its form factor and cheaper price unit. And I think that's the key.
No, I think that.
I think PlayStation knows its market. Nintendo knows its market. I mean, when you look at the numbers for Nintendo versus everybody else, it's not even close. For instance, Nintendo year to date has 1.6 million, and PlayStation year to date has 350,000. Like, it's not even close. Nintendo dominates. But I think the Series S, I mean, we've said it ourselves. The Series S is the sexiest machine of the two. You combine.
Well, it's not sexy. It's like the greatest piece of hardware on the planet right now for the price.
Exactly. No, but I think.
But it is sexy.
From looks wise, I prefer it over the Series X.
From looks wise?
Yeah, looks wise.
Okay, sure.
I think it's nice.
I mean, you don't like a black box, I guess.
Got a nice.
What? I mean, what? I don't
Well,
know.
I think it's
it's
the,
literally just a black
It's
box.
the size, though. It's the color.
Well, no. I think it's because the Series S has contrast, so it pops.
It also has
more.
the contrast that pity pops.
And if you want a PlayStation 5, you're just getting a giant router.
You are getting.
So
a
I
giant
guess
router.
you're right. Of
You are-
of the consoles
getting a
right
giant
now,
router.
that's probably the best looking one.
Now, do you think going this Game Pass route, that going with two different options of consoles, that the Xbox is going to be able to make some moves in Japan here, or do you think this is a one-time blip due to supply?
No, I don't think it's a one-time.
I don't think it's a one-time blip.
Well-
either. Fun fact, though, this has only ever happened 10 times.
Wait, what?
Xbox beating PlayStation in week-to-week sales has only ever happened 10 times, and that was all those 10 times was during the 360
The 360 and the 360 was dumb.
And the 360 had some solid JRPs, first-party title JRPGs.
Yeah, well, it was the first. It was the first. I mean, given it was the second Xbox console, but it was the first time Final Fantasy came to Xbox through 11, which was the online game.
Yeah.
Then you had 13, and you had a few other JRPGs.
So let's start with Spicy and then go to Jordan. Spicy, why do you not think this is just a blip, a one-time occurrence?
Before I answer that, I'm looking at these numbers right now. We have it on the screen for those listening. The PlayStation 4 is still selling units.
Yeah,
They sold
Yeah.
22 units last week.
yeah, woo.
Yeah, good job. But look how, that's out of 7.8 million. So okay. That's funny. I don't think it's a blip because the hardware is great. And I think that there's value in that hardware. We talked about it right before. It is the sexiest, not the same. Well, it is sexy. Okay. Well, we'll say it's the sexiest. But for what you get, there is nothing that compares to the Series S. I mean, we look at the Series X numbers. There was only 105 of them sold in Japan.
Yeah, yeah. So there's clearly
It's the Series S is just it is an amazing machine for it. The value is crazy good. I mean, you think about like why the Switch sells too. This is me talking out of my butt again, but the value of the Switch, you can't get that anywhere else either.
Well, the Switch doesn't just sell; it dominates.
They sold 20,000 last week of just the standard. That's not including the Lite or the OLED. Oh, they sold 35,000 OLEDs last week. Comparatively, the number for the PlayStation 5 is roughly 2,000 versus the Series S, which is 6,000 for those listening. So, no, I don't think it's a blip because, I mean, you sell a good product. You have a good product, it's going to sell. And I think this is showing that, and I think it's just going to continue, honestly, especially if you can't get anything else. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to change. I think it's going to just continue. Now that you're getting people with, you're getting Japanese customers buying this, you're now going to have people that, there are now going to be a friend base that has the Xbox. Mm-hmm. I mean,
at least 6,000.
One of the biggest things when you choose is where are your friends on a console. Now you're starting to get a player base. They never really had that before.
yeah,
And
yeah. That's true. That's word of mouth. That's a very good point.
What do you play on? I play on the Xbox. Oh, I want to play with you. Okay, get an Xbox.
Yeah, get
That's
an
a
Xbox.
very real thing.
Get an Xbox, bitch.
What's your deal?
That's not how Japanese people speak.
Yeah, that's exact. They sound southern and crude.
Get an Xbox, bitch.
Oh my gosh. So, anyways, yeah, I don't know. That's my opinion. I'm sure I'm not as smart as a lot of other people, but I feel like once you start getting a foundation of players, it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, how about yourself?
I think it's like you guys said. I think it's the price and the form factor. The price alone, really, because you're thinking, it's half the price of the PlayStation, and I mean, I wonder how many of these people that bought the S also have the PlayStation 5. So it's a nice introductory system to the other systems. It's just like how Switch has its Lite version that sold really well, right?
Yeah.
It's if you play primarily on your Xbox, the Switch Lite is a nice introductory system to Nintendo's ecosystem, right? And I actually think that's the goal of the Series S, to bring you into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And no, I think it's price point. I don't know how many yen it is compared to dollars, but
Why? I'm looking at this list. I do not understand why the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition is so low.
It's because you
I
can't
don't think
find
there's
that
a
one.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Remember
they purposely.
Remember when you said they lied about it?
Yeah,
You
they
can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, you'd think the kinks would be worked out by now.
No.
So the numbers for the PlayStation 5, the CD version, is $2,200. The PlayStation Digital Edition is only $450.
I think that's a pure supply issue for the digital.
Well, yeah, because that's the one I want.
Yeah, and you can't get anywhere.
I don't think it exists. I think you're
So
right.
here's the thing.
Yeah, they don't even exist.
Here's the thing: if you're a PlayStation fanboy and you're looking at this and you're saying one-time thing, PlayStation has a supply issue. The minute that's done, we're gonna sell. My problem with that argument is not that it's necessarily wrong from a technical standpoint, but you take advantage of your competitor's weakness, and if your competitor is having
Sun Shu.
yes,
Very good.
and if you're
The Art of War.
the art of war, baby, and if you
You choose the playing field.
yes. And if your competitor is having stock shortages, and you are too with your Series X, but with your Series S, you're not, this could be a way that Microsoft finally gets its foot in the door, like you were saying, Spicy.
Yeah, the foundation. They're building a foundation. They've been building it for 15 years, but this is actually super interesting.
This is a good step
This is
forward, yeah.
Good. Yeah.
It is a good day for Xbox.
I mean, they're only sold 100 of the most powerful console on the planet, but yeah.
So I'm reading all of while you guys are talking, I'm reading all of these theories on it's the Stranger. The Stranger, is that what his name is in Red Dead 1? that we were talking about?
from
yeah,
Red Dead
you're still trying to
Redemption.
figure it
The
out.
Strange Man. Strange Man. Look, that's him, dude. Anyways, these guys don't even know. Like, they're throwing, like, some people
Yeah.
think this and this. No, I know.
I think that's the point of the Strange Man.
I know.
No one
I
knows.
know.
Isn't it nice to have a
Oh, it
little
is.
mystery in your life, though?
Oh, it is, yeah.
Isn't it nice, like, they haven't, essentially, this is, philosophically pulled his helmet off, so to speak? Like,
Oh.
we can't
Yep.
see his face.
You just give me a good segue.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm
Thank
doing.
you. Speaking of pulling off helmets,
Yeah. With the Stranger, we don't know his actual
yeah.
philosophical face.
Let's jump into our questions, and then this is going to lead Jordan into the Halo Season 1 finally dropped. And you've heard us. You're probably thinking, oh, no, they're just going to bitch and moan. No.
There's some of that.
Actually, Jordan has some positive things to say about the season finale here. But before we get
There's
to
some
it,
of
Halo,
that. There's
right?
some of that
yeah,
too.
of Halo, let's talk. Let's get Happy Mayo's question here. Happy Mayo wrote in. Now, you can submit your question every week over on YouTube, youtube.com/XoneBros. Hit the community tab. The mail sack is there. Here's what he says. He says, first off, what's up, boys? Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. He says, okay, here we go. I am the one person that is a Halo fanboy and actually enjoys the series.
You are. Yeah.
With that being said, you must get to the 9th episode. The series seems right in line with what Jordan said. Good, but not great. But in episode 9, Happy Mayo says, I feel it brings it all together. It's a John to Master Chief prologue. Once X happens, I feel he becomes the video game Master Chief. Never says a word and never takes off his helmet when that event happens. If they change his voice to the original Master Chief voice, like the Cortana character, it will save the series for Halo fanboys, in my opinion. The final fight scene was amazing. Jordan, this is in his question. Jordan, what do you think? Because if they do all of Season 1 as like a prologue, then get into Season 2, more in line with Halo Combat Evolved story, he thinks the series is saved. It's not a bad theory, Happy Mayo.
No, yeah.
Let's go to Jordan.
Yeah. One, and like David said last week, there's nothing wrong if you like the show. There's people enjoying the show, and that's great. The season finale it gave us an upswing, because the last episode that we talked about last week that I hadn't seen at the time, which then did go home and watch with the awkward love scene.
Okay, hold on, pause. Big Boy Will does have a good question in chat. I planned on bringing it home this weekend. Should I leave?
Yes.
Yeah, let's be. I'm not going to watch it. Let's spoil the shit out of this thing. I'm sorry, I'm swearing. Let's spoil it. Let's spoil it all.
Master Chief sweared.
I
Last
give myself
episode.
one swear word an episode.
Yeah.
Master Chief swore.
He did,
Good
he did.
for him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So spoilers going forward for Halo Season 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
be right back. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
We got you, Big Boy Will.
and those listening,
And
too.
those listening, yeah, if you're listening, go watch the last episode and then come back.
Yeah, but no, like Happy Mayo said, I don't think it's good and I don't think it's terrible. There's things that bother me, and then like this last episode, I think this last episode went on an upswing because I thought they were going in a direction that was like, whoa. Because let's just say in episode 8, there was this awkward 3-way love scene, And it was definitely a three-way. Cortana was feeling it, and it was confirmed in episode 9 that she felt it.
She felt it?
Yeah, it was weird. But anyway,
That's why she had the face that she had.
She said, I felt it?
there was a question. Chief says something because one of the characters gets away, and Chief says something like, I felt such and such, or blah, blah, blah. And the person, the commander, looks over to Cortana, and she goes, well, did you feel that? And she like gave this really awkward look. I forget what she answered, but it was like, we all knew,
Yeah,
like
we all knew that she felt something.
You felt it.
That it was awkward.
It was weird. But anyway, no, there's just the end fight. So he was talking about the end fight. The end fight was cool.
Okay.
There was some inconsistencies with it.
Overall, well, before he talks about the end fight, though, he's talking about something happens, and then he feels like
That's in the end fight.
John becomes Master Chief.
He does and he doesn't. And that's where it was cool, but I don't necessarily like how they did it. We'll see. I mean, maybe it'll turn out cool. So basically what happens is in the story, Cortana can fully take over Master Chief, right?
Okay.
She hasn't done it yet. She doesn't want to do it. There's this whole drama between it, whatever. But then during this end fight scene, Chief was like, do it, Cortana. I'm going to die. Just do it. And she does it, and then he turns into this, like, Captain Insano and just takes on a fleet of
Power level 9,000?
Yeah, he just goes crazy. And it was a really cool scene. The problem is, or not the problem, I mean, it was a really cool scene, and from that point forward, it was very, like, one of the Spartans got injured, Master Chief just fixes her up with, like, a makeshift med kit and, what is it when you burn wounds? Cauterize the wound, and then he's noticed it. Like, it was actually really cool. And then he's just like, okay, I'm done. And then he just goes and flies the ship, and you're like, all right, this guy just knows what he's doing now. Like, he's got a direction. The only problem I have with it is it was technically Master Cortana, not Master Chief, because that's technically Cortana taking over his body to do that. So it made me feel that, well, what's the point of the Spartans?
Yeah.
When you have AI that can just
I mean, yes,
be a
yes,
mechanical
they do, the Spartans are still genetically enhanced, and we got all that stuff, right? But yeah, kind of like you said, it was just kind of like, well,
so are they trying to show that Master Chief, or like, here's Master Chief before Cortana, here's after Cortana, that's Master Chief.
Maybe that's,
and the only way they can do that is by saying
maybe that's what
Cortana
they're going for. But in the previous episode 8, where Master Chief fights his Silver Team, him and Cortana, there was a couple lines between them where they were working together, and that felt more of a like, okay, this is it, because John is still, or Master Chief is still Master Chief, where he's a tough, good, lethal soldier, and then Cortana's like his game shark. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
game shark, yeah.
She is in the game. Yeah, where she goes, put him in front of the warthog, I'll move it, or coming at your 90 degrees. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought that was a super cool dynamic. I wish they would have done that in this main fight. Now, don't get me wrong, the fight was still really cool.
As better than episode 1 fight? Or just
because it was basically just like a over 9,000 Master Chief fight.
Yeah.
There was some issues with the fight via inconsistencies. For example, Cortana then orders the Condor to come and just... So basically, they're on like this holy temple, and the prophets are there, and then all of a sudden this wave of Covenant come, and there's hundreds of them. Cortana can't even count. She just says they're coming in waves, and here they come. The Spartans are getting all beat up, and it's like a 20-minute scene, and then some weird stuff happens on the ring, which we'll get to. Anyway, so basically Master Chief lets Cortana take over his full body, and he goes crazy. And then Cortana comes with the Condor. She orders the Condor to come in and just blow all the Covenant away. Why didn't you just do that from the start?
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
It's one of those.
There was also another inconsistency when they have the key, which I'm basically comparing to like the index, if you're familiar with the games, like the index that activates that. Well, the key, I guess it's just showing them where the halos are, right? So they have this key that shows them where the halos are. So the prophets, who are the leaders of the Covenant, are all in their chairs right there, and the Spartans attack, and the prophets literally just kind of float up about 10 feet, and they just watch the whole fight. So Master Chief, or Master Cortana, however you want to call it, goes and grabs the key so the Covenant can't have it, and it shows this really cool scene of Master Chief like basically bench pressing this huge stone key and the prophets floating in the background. Why didn't they just shoot the prophets? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like I said earlier, details
Lazy
matter.
writing.
Details
I'm
matter.
gonna say it's lazy writing.
And I know this may sound stupid, but I really do think details matter. So, for example, we've had this happen in Halo 2, I think, when the Chief appears on, and I know I shouldn't compare him to the games because I know it's a different timeline, and I get that, and I am separating it. You know, I take it for what it is. But just an example of how that could have been done, just little details, is when Master Chief and Silver Team come, the honor guards, which were the elite honors guards, which, by the way, looked really good. They had their cool armor on.
Yeah.
Could have stood in front of the prophets and like escorted them away, like we've seen them do in different scenes of the game, or you know.
Yeah.
Just like if the president was attacked, they wouldn't just keep him there. They would move him. The battle would stay there, but they would move him.
But
You know what I
maybe
mean?
they didn't realize. Maybe this is them showing that if Master Chief is becoming Master Chief, maybe it's their way of showing that they're not. They don't fear him.
Well,
yet.
no, they call him the demon. They
they call him the
They
demon
know
still.
he's bad.
Yeah.
What if?
And
Jordan,
it's not that they don't fear him.
Hold on,
It's
Jordan.
just I just don't know why they didn't shoot them.
What if the president wanted to just watch the fight?
I don't know how that would work.
Not a lot you can do.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe they wanted to, but that's from their side. What I'm saying is, as Spartans,
They're just stupid. Why don't you just shoot
we?
there?
It was. I think they did it as like a cinematography thing, and like just so they can everything's the same or what. I don't know, but I just think little details like that do matter. For example, another little detail going in like to a season review. In episode 8, the Spartans basically fight against each other.
Sure.
What's interesting about that is in episode 9, after the fight, they joke, Kai, Vanek, and Riz joke about, like, hey, would you really have shot me? And they're all like, yeah, we really would have, but I would have felt bad. It was like this joke scene, you know, about like, hey, I would have shot you, right? You know, whatever. In episode, it was like 3 or 4, they tell this story about how they had pets. And it's basically like a Spartan training exercise, how they had pets and they became attached to these pets, and then these pets were eventually taken from them and killed. And the question was asked, well, why were these pets killed? And I think it was Vanek said, because Spartans can only be bonded to each other.
Oh,
So if we're bonded and we have this brotherhood, and the show has been telling us that these Spartans have grown up together and they have been through everything together, why in episode 9 so easily are like, I would have shot you. Our whole life means nothing. I just would have shot you. You know what I mean? Like there's no...
There are holes. As well.
Continuity.
Continuity is there's
Character continuity.
There's a few more issues like that where I don't. It's just I think little details like that do matter. There's other stuff, you know, like the whole Quan thing. I really don't like that storyline, like at all.
Yeah, I have not seen a lot of positive things
Yeah.
on that. But okay, let me ask you
But
this, because
anyway,
Happy
yeah.
Mayo, and you said something similar, that this gives you hope. This
Well,
last
I mean,
episode gave
this
you
last
hope.
episode definitely was an uptick. Like, and I think it was because of the battle.
Yeah. So what about Happy Mayo's theory here that he thinks maybe this was like a prologue to Master Chief, and now he's Master Chief?
No, and that would be cool. Like the way he acted at the end was very, I would say, Halo 1 Master Chief. Because playing through the games, you know, even if you've never read the books, just playing through the games, you can see the progress of Master Chief. You know, in 2 he gets a little bit more chatty. Halo 4 he's a little bit more emotional with Cortana. You know what I mean? I would say he's more. It's the longest he's ever had his helmet on in one scene, so he's definitely more Master Chief in this last episode.
Yeah.
We'll see where they go with the story. I think it could be cool. Like it could. I mean, anything could be cool. We'll see what they do with the story going forward with this Cortana, because Cortana, from what I understand, is in full control of him. Like he technically isn't John 117 anymore. This is Cortana controlling him.
Yeah.
So we'll see where they go with that, and we'll see what they do, and that'll kind of
So if 9, let's say they redid.
But to answer Happy Mail's questions, I did like that last scene where he did feel more like a Master Chief. I like his idea of maybe now he's a Master Chief, but then I don't know, it takes away that humanity that he has, because now he's just an AI, and I don't know. I don't know if they could do cool stuff with it. We'll just have to wait and see what they do. But I do agree with him. I did like that last scene where he was acting more like the Master Chief that we know
Yeah.
from the canon timeline.
Someone, I forget, I saw it in chat. Someone asked, does this play better if you watch it, the whole series, together at once versus the week to week, now that it's all over?
I think it plays just the same.
Plays just the same. It's going to put you
Mediocre.
it's going to put you on a roller coaster of anger,
well,
emotions as a
I-
Halo fan.
In my opinion, there's stuff that they do good, which is really cool, and there's stuff that they do bad. And I was telling you this before the show. When they do it bad, it's really bad. I think.
There's no I don't know, middle ground.
Yeah. No. No, I don't. Because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there was no great episode. You know what I mean? They came in that first episode and got you hooked with that first 15 minutes. And then from there was nothing that just like, that had you, I guess the ending scene was a really cool fight. But even taking all the episodes together, there was no great episode. I mean, I think my grade still stands. I probably wouldn't say a C+ anymore. Now seeing the whole season, I would give it a C. It's not terrible, but it's not great. You know what I mean? It's just.
But you are not writing it completely off. You're waiting to see what they do with season 2.
This is what I hope. I think there's a lot of people on the show that are doing a good job. I think I have no problems with the actors. I have, even the actress that plays Quan. I think she's a good actress. I just don't like the character Quan.
Yeah.
The story and the writing is mostly where I have my issues. Take the games out of this, because I know a lot of people say like, oh, well, just don't think of the games. I trust me, I am not thinking of the games. This is its own story, and even with it being its own story, I feel like it has its issues. I hope that the producers and the writers and some of these people take some of this feedback and incorporate it into season 2, and they don't just attack the fan base that's watching it. And don't get me wrong, there's some fans out there that are,
crazy people.
Yeah, making like death threats, which is literally crazy because it's just a TV show.
Yep.
You
Bro,
know what
calm
I mean?
down.
Yeah,
It's a fake world to
don't
begin with.
don't be a crazy person. And yes, the producers and stuff can write them off because
Also,
they're crazy.
producers
But
don't be crazy.
yeah, it goes both ways. But I do hope they legitimately say like, okay, well, this is what people like, this is what people didn't like. How can we incorporate this into season 2? I hope I think everybody wants the show to be good.
There you
you
go.
know?
There you go.
So that's what I hope for.
There you go. Happy Mayo. Great question. Thank you very much for writing in. To your point, Blake Densley in chat, Barbara Blake says there was talk about the actor who played Master Chief not coming back, meaning he would keep his helmet on all the time. That's the theory out there in season 2.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just this thing about this show. I don't know why. I'm okay with the helmet coming off.
No, I'm not.
But don't be stupid about it. Why is everybody all right, let's put the driving scene. Let's put our helmet on to drive. Now let's take it off. You know what I mean? And I have seen people out there. Well,
there's lots of bugs.
Well, I have. Yeah.
You don't want to get bugs in your mouth.
I have seen people out there saying if you think about it, if you're a soldier, you don't always wear your helmet. You'll take it off when you're at base and stuff. And it's yeah, that's fine. But these guys are taking it off in the middle of a hot zone. For example, Kai, who I actually think is a really good character, and I was telling this to Mark. All the Spartans I actually think are really good characters because they are based off of Blue Team, which are really good characters. So I hope they actually dive a little bit more into the Spartans in season 2. But Kai takes her helmet off in one scene, and the Spartans beat the crap out of her because it's like a
shouldn't have
and
taken-
yeah, it's
that was last episode,
example 1: don't take your
Don't
helmet
take it
off. And then
it's like at the end of a football game when you're shaking hands, you don't take your helmet off in case a fight breaks out.
And then another thing, she's running towards Dr. Halsey's ship. She does this crazy, Super Saiyan jump, and she gets in and she slams down and she runs up to Dr. Halsey. The whole scene stops. She takes her helmet off and she says, "Hey, Dr. Halsey," and she does this whole dramatic thing, which, by the way, was another issue with the writing, which I'll. Anyway, then she gets whacked in the head with a wrench. It doesn't hurt her because she's a Spartan, and it was just like a normal dude. But this way you don't take your helmet off.
So Spartans are stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe they've not yet had that training. They're learning.
Oh, okay. And I just one more thing, and then I promise I'm done. And I told this to Mark right before you came in.
Yeah.
And there's so many shows that do this, and it just really bothers me because.
Vent,
and this,
baby.
I think this is just this is that laziness. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Trying to create drama when you don't need to. Stuff goes down. basically the Covenant are going to get this key. They're going to know where the Halo is, and we know the Halo is a weapon.
Yep.
And they're going to fire it.
Yep.
Right? So, Master Chief groups up the Spartans. He says, hey, guys, Covenant's got the key. They're going to destroy the world. Let's go get them. Priorities. Everybody goes, deal. And then Kai, again, a character that I like, goes, okay, perfect. I'm going to go get Dr. Halsey and ask her a personal question. See you later.
Okay,
it
sounds good. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and it was just like,
Basically what happened.
and then that scene like turned into nothing. It was just like, why? Like, guys, these are Spartans. Despite their stupid inhibitor chip that they have or whatever, they are trained soldiers, and you're telling me that the universe is at stake. She's going to go ask Dr. Halsey a personal question.
Yeah.
You know,
Why-
it's
I mean,
just-
why not?
Yeah. Anyway, but overall, I hope season 2 goes well. It'll be interesting to see where they go with the series.
Yeah. There you go. Happy mail again. Thank you very much for that question.
good
That's-
question.
That does us for today's episode, everybody. What a fantastic episode. Fantastico.
Oh, really? It went by that fast?
But by the fest, we're at hour 6, baby.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, we just.
Sorry, I like that.
I'm gonna go do a deep dive this week on the strange man.
Good.
I think I want to play Red Dead 2.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Don't
I
even
need
follow
it-
the story.
I hope I have time. I've been having like David. This week's been bad. I've been like 12-hour, 14 hours work. It's like bad.
Oh yeah.
It's like bad every day.
Oh yeah.
Drive me crazy. Anyways, yeah. Shall we? I'll hit that button. I guess.
Hold on, there's a comment in chat. This is why they put AI in, because they didn't train them to think.
They didn't train them to
That's
think.
actually kind of how it feels sometimes. That is a perfect comment. Perfect
Yes.
comment.
Perfect
you know how
comment.
you know how you fix the whole helmet issue? I know you want to press the button and get out of here, but
Oh yeah.
you know, I think it was Blake said in chat that the actor might not come back. How you do it story-wise is you have him put on this helmet, then have someone kick him in the balls as hard as like just Covenant, and then his voice changes into the voice actor
The voice
of Master
actor,
Chief,
yeah.
like, and it's permanent.
Or have him be in like a Darth Vader situation where he has to wear the helmet or he dies.
Yeah.
Actually, Blake brings up a good point. When Kai ran to Dr. Halsey, it was a dumb as crap question anyway. Like, yeah. Anyways,
What was
sorry.
the question?
What's her name? It's Kai.
No, that's way more important to know than to save the world.
The world is ending.
Well, it's so well.
We're about to face
they-
utter destruction,
They did this like weird
and
thing.
I
It's like,
have to deal with my adoption issues as a Spartan.
but maybe she had a different name. No.
See you guys. Have a good one, everybody.
It's a